All right, let's get right into it. Today we're exploring a really profound story, one about a being with almost unimaginable power who chooses, willingly, to endure the most horrific suffering. And he does it all for the sake of a principle. It's a story that really makes you stop and ask, what does it truly mean to be strong?
And this quote right here, it really gets to the absolute heart of the story. Willing to suffer to the point of death rather than destroy one's own intention. I mean, think about that. We're talking about a level of commitment so complete that physical agony doesn't even matter compared to a higher purpose. This isn't weakness, it's a completely different kind of power.
So, let's meet our main character, Prince Buddhidatta. Now, he wasn't just some regular prince. He was a Naga, a divine serpent being with unbelievable might. Just picture it, a magnificent underwater palace, endless riches, and the raw power to literally destroy his enemies in the blink of an eye.
But then, this happened to him. He was captured, and the humiliation was just absolute. I mean, a mortal snake charmer trampled on him, crushed him until his bones were on the verge of shattering. He was grabbed by the tail and slammed into the ground, over and over. Then, he was stuffed into this tiny, suffocating basket and forced to perform like a common animal for a few coins.
And this, right here, is the central mystery of the story. Why? Why would a divine prince who could literally turn his abuser to ash with just an angry look choose to put up with all of this? I mean, what could possibly be worth that level of pain and degradation?
Well, to understand his choice, we've got to go back a bit. We have to look at a solemn vow he made that really set this whole agonizing ordeal into motion.
You see, even though he had this incredible wealth and status in his own realm, Buddhidatta felt like something was missing. The luxury of his palace just felt hollow. He had a higher ambition, something that no amount of gold could ever satisfy.
And his goal was incredibly specific and profound. He wanted to be reborn in a higher realm, in the celestial heavens among the gods. He saw that as a much more worthy existence, and honestly, he was willing to do whatever it took to get there.
So he came up with a plan. He would leave his kingdom, go to the human world, and find a sacred spot to practice some intense spiritual discipline. This meant observing a set of moral commitments called the Uposatha precepts, and making a vow that would test him to his absolute limit.
And this was his vow. He offered himself up completely. Whoever desires my skin, sinews, bones, or flesh, let them come and take it. Wow. This wasn't just a simple promise not to hurt anyone. It was basically an open invitation for the world to test his resolve. He made himself completely and totally vulnerable for his spiritual goal.
And as you can probably guess, that vow was about to be put to the test in the most brutal way imaginable.
So, while Buddhidatta was lying there, coiled on that termite mound, deep in meditation, he was discovered. A snake charmer named Alambayana stumbled upon him. But Alambayana didn't see a prince or a holy being observing a sacred vow. No, he saw a magnificent snake, and all he could think about was the money he could make.
Because Buddhidatta was so committed to his vow of non-retaliation and stillness, he was basically a sitting duck. The snake charmer captured the mighty Naga prince without any resistance at all.
Now this is where it gets really fascinating. Imagine his internal struggle, lying there, being tortured. Buddhidatta knew, he absolutely knew, he could end it in a second. Just a flicker of his true divine anger could have incinerated his captor. That power was right there, just bubbling under the surface.
So he's facing this impossible choice. He can use his power and get instant freedom, but it would cost him his vow, his principles, his entire spiritual goal. Or he could endure the pain to keep his intention pure. Which path was the right one?
And this is where the story shifts from just being a tale of suffering to a powerful lesson in strength. His endurance wasn't weakness at all. It was the ultimate expression of his power, a power that was rooted in his morality.
The principle he was practicing is known as Silapadami, which means the perfection of morality. And this isn't just about being a good person in your day-to-day life. It's about upholding your ethical code when it's the hardest thing in the world to do, when you're facing intense pressure and when it's costing you everything.
And get this, there are actually levels to it. There's the basic perfection, upholding morality in daily life. Then you've got the higher perfection, which is doing that under difficult circumstances. But Buddhidatta, he was going for the top tier, Sila Paramatha Parami, upholding morality even if it means sacrificing your own life.
And this chart just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? Look at the two paths. On one hand, use his power. He's free, sure, but his tormentor is harmed, his vow is broken, and his soul's purpose is completely lost. On the other hand, uphold morality. He suffers terribly, but his vow stays intact, and he actually achieves the very perfection he set out to find. When you see it like that, his choice becomes crystal clear. But wait, there's another layer here, and it's so important. This wasn't just some cold, calculated decision to protect his vow. It came from a place of deep compassion. He knew what his anger was capable of, and he chose to absorb all that pain himself rather than inflict a terrible fate on his abuser. Think about that. He feared harming the snake charmer more than he feared for his own life.
And in that way, his unwavering morality truly became his shield. Now, it didn't protect his body from pain, obviously, but it shielded his mind and his spirit from being corrupted. It preserved his integrity, which to him was so much more valuable than his own physical comfort.
So what does this ancient story about a Naga prince have to do with us, here and now? Well, it all comes down to the power of our intention.
I mean, just think about it. We all face those situations, right? Where we're pressured to bend our principles for an easy win. Maybe a small lie to get out of trouble or cutting a corner to meet a deadline. The choice is always there. Take the easy route or endure a little hardship to stay true to what you believe is right. What Buridatta's story teaches us is that the purity of your intention can be way more important than the immediate physical result.
And ultimately, this story just completely redefines what it means to be strong. True strength isn't about the force you can exert on the world or the power to crush your enemies. It's internal. It's that unwavering commitment to your principles no matter what it costs you.
And so that really leaves us with a question to think about. In your own life, in your own world, what is that one core principle, that line in the sand that you will never, ever compromise on, no matter what?